lining up for such a cool air battle. Like, the rooks aren't even there yet. And we find out there are 5,000 Crocum witches. 5,000. There's 1,000 witches coming at them. And Manon has brought 5,013 witches with her. Meanwhile, my man Dorian, he needs to figure out what to do, where to go next. So he summons the spirit of Gavin and lets the spirit know, look, I've got all of the keys now. And Dorian's going to go find Aelin and they're going to decide what to do together. Dorian's not going to take the decision out of Aelin's hands. He's got everything they need, but he wants to make whatever decision gets made as a duo, as a pair. Back in Orinth, my girl Lysandra, she does go down into the tunnels that Aedion wants her to escape through. But instead, she goes down to the Florin River that runs below the city and turns herself into a sea dragon again, gets in the water and is waiting for a signal. And when she gets that signal, she erupts from the water over where the enemy is and attacks them as a sea dragon. And then she dives back down into the water and jumps back up to attack him again. So they're like, what on earth is in this river? It's so cool. And Aedion, he turns the fire lancers down towards the enemy forces rather than up in the sky, because they can't shoot them up in the sky because all the witches are fighting up in the air and they don't want to hit any of, their team. The forces on the ground, they're getting set on fire. They're getting attacked by a sea dragon. The wyverns up in the sky being attacked by the 13 and all the Crocum witches. But we have a siege ladder hit the wall and we find out that one of the Valg princes has arrived at Orinth. Now, this Valg prince and Aedion obviously fight. He's there to protect his homeland, but the Valg stabs him in the armpit. Luckily for Aedion, Ren saves him and manages to kill that same Valg prince with one of the fire lancers. Aedion is totally unconscious and he gets sent to a healer. Back over on the road, Team Aelin are still heading towards Orinth with all these secret paths to Terrasen in the woods. And Rowan has given Aelin a brand new tattoo, except this one is huge. It goes all the way over her back. And the tattoos Rowan gives people, they tell their story in the Old Fae language. And obviously she's got quite the story to tell. And it goes over all of the space where the scars on her back used to be. Tattoo is surprisingly important. We also then get, and so Lorcan did happen in this chapter. We're not going to talk about it. I'm still mad. But the chapter actually ends with Dorian turning up. He's got all 3 keys. Woohoo! Back over in the battle, though, we start focusing on what's happening with Manon, right? We find out that the enemy, they're going to try and go down through the river and the tunnels that they figured out Lysandra's been using. And this motherfucker, Iskra Yellowlegs, hunts down and finds Abraxos and Manon. And Iskra's bull has Abraxos's throat in his jaws. He's going to clamp down. And Manon wants to save Abraxos, who's trying to, dive for the ground so that he can kill the bull and, save Manon, get her off her back onto the ground safe. And Manon's like, no, dude, you need to start fighting now. I'll jump off. Leave me. You save yourself, fight the bull. I'm a peace out, okay? Because Manon would rather die than let Abraxos die. We just get a little showcasing of that. Because she loves her wyvern. And just as, she's about to jump, Abraxos is going to have to fight for his life. Petra, Blue Blood, turns up. Petra, whose own wyvern was killed in exactly that way by Iskra Yellowlegs. She has taken Manon's side. She's taken her up on the offer and she's brought all of her legion of Iron Teeth with her to fight for Team Good Guys. And she saves Manon and Abraxos from, the fate that happened to her wyvern in the Capture the Flag game in Air of Fire. And they prevent the Marath enemy from using the river the way they want to. And Petra kills Iskra Yellowlegs and her wyvern in revenge for what she did back in Air of Fire. Yes! And Manon, she has to take Abraxos back to the castle because Abraxos needs healing. That bull's really damaged his neck. And this is when we get the really, really most awful thing that happens. Actually, I'm going to say, this is the worst thing that happens in the whole book. Worst thing that happens ever in the whole series of bone of glass. This is the one that does me in, okay? And it's from this point forward. I'm gonna let myself cry because it's that bad. They find out that the Morath forces, they've fixed that one broken witch tower that they've got left, and that they're gonna have witches perform the yielding in the tower, and they're gonna use the power created to destroy Orinth and kill everybody. And Manon, she's determined. She's like, no matter what it takes, I've got to go and get to that tower. We need to stop that tower. Everyone will die. Like, so she wants to go. She's getting ready, but Abraxos is hurt. The 13, they like knock her to the ground, and they all run off. Says to Manon, like, look, just live, Manon. That's all we want. You live. And they all of them fly out without Manon. They leave her behind. And one by one, they all get closer and closer to the tower. But they all get stopped. They're all being attacked. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. This is still really raw for me. And one by one, they all die. And Astrid, she's the 12th one, and she makes it to the tower. And each and every one of them performs the yielding right. They're like, look, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna take out as many of the bad witches as I can. But when they perform the yielding, the light that comes out of them, it's not black, it's brilliant white light. Because they're being selfless and kind. Because they want to save everybody. They want to protect Madonna because they love her. It's all white light because they do it out of love. True love for Madonna. Then everything stops because everyone's like, oh my god. The witch tower explodes. Like the enemy's reeling. And so everyone's like, yeah, okay, time out. Time out, this is bad. And Madonna, she makes her way down to the blast zone, to the crevasse. She's so alone. They're all gone. She's never gonna see them again. And all of the people whose lives that you just saved, they come and they put flowers into the crevasse, like these white flowers, to commemorate those women who were so brave. And over in the Witchlands, the kings blame the flower. It starts blooming again because the 30 years sacrificed themselves for the greater good. The witches, they're all together now, and now they've got a future because of the 13, and that's great. That's brilliant, but Manon, Esther is dead. The other girls are dead, and Manon has spent so much of this series acting like she doesn't care, and now she just cares too much, and they're all gone, and she never told them how much she loved them. She'll never get the chance to tell them that. let's just soldier on. I'm probably gonna cry again because this book is exquisite pain. We juxtapose the worst thing that's ever been written ever with Dorian catching up with Chaol, and I will admit, when they see each other again and they hug, it's brilliant, But all I can think about is how Manon's never gonna get to cuddle Astrid again. I don't even know if they ever really have a hug like Dorian and Kale do, because Dorian's just not afraid. And to show how much he loves Kale, and Manon's gonna have to always live with how she never let anyone know how much she cared about them, even though I know Astrid knew that Manon loved her. I knew the 13 knew that, but still it hurts. Manon doesn't know that. Oh my god, build a bridge and get over it, Clark. We get Dorian meeting Irene, which is really cute because that's his homeboy's wife. Dorian tells everybody about Morath and what Maeve was there for. And Aelin decides to let everyone vote on whether they should head to Terrasen, win the fight, and then go and forge the lock, or if they should try and forge the lock first and then head forward to Terrasen for the battle. Now, Rowan suggests that Aelin and Dorian try and forge the lock together, and that way they can kind of each give half of their power, half of their life to save everybody. And Aelin says to Dorian, would you be amenable to that? That way we might be able to make it through without either of us dying. And Dorian's like, obviously that is the better option. Let's do that. So they are going to go and forge the lock together. So Rowan, Kale, Dorian, and Aelin head to one place I never wanted to return to again, but it happens to be where they have to forge the lock. Endovia, where we started this entire story back at the beginning of Throne of Glass. How poetic. Now, Dorian and Aelin cut their palms and hold hands. Aelin cuts open her arms and she realizes that in order to make this work, she kind of has to become one with the weird keys. So she puts the stones in her arm and they dissolve into her blood. Now, the lock is forming, and instead of it just kind of taking half of each of their powers, it's just draining them both completely. And then we have a surprise cameo from the ghost of the King of Ardalan. Now, his spirit comes on and he says, look, neither of you has to pay the price. Okay, there's been this phrase used all along, my price is nameless. And Brannon's symbol meant nameless. So from the moment we've seen it on Selena's forehead, it's been like, my price is nameless. You are the price. But the King of Ardalan says, I'm nameless. Can any one of you tell me what my name is? And you are gagged to realise that as you cast your mind back, through 7 entire books, he has never been called anything other than the King of Ardalan or Dorian's father. You kind of get this stressing at this point that even though he was possessed all the way through the books, like the King of Ardalan we've known, he's been possessed by like a Valg Duke. Erwin's right-hand man was inside the King of Ardalan all along. Or he has done everything he can to protect Dorian whilst being possessed. The moment he realised his son had power, he built those towers and started the spell to stop any magic from being in Erelea, so that the Valg demon inside him and Erwin, they wouldn't find out. But Dorian, had the right kind of magic to create this portal and travel between worlds. Literally done what he could because he loved Dorian, and now he's like, look, I like Helena, right? If my spirit goes, I'll never get into heaven. Like, I will never have an afterlife, but I don't care. He's my son. Use me. I'm nameless. I can count. And so Aelin hears him say this and is like, brilliant. Great. Turns to Dorian and is like, well, one of us has to make it home. Someone has to rule Erelea, return Ardalan and Terrasen back to normal. And she boots Dorian away. Yeets him back to Earth. Well, Erelea. And she plans to do the rest of the spell using Dorian's father instead of him. Now, in exchange for having saved Dorian, the king says, Aelin, I've got a message for you. From the afterlife, from heaven where I've been, from your mum and dad. And he wanted me to tell you that they love you, that they're proud of you, and the debt here, it's been paid enough. And he uses the last of his spirit and his power to fully forge the lock. And so it's all sealed, it's done. There will be no more travelling for any of the Valg in or out of Erelea. And Aelin's magic vanishes. There is no magic left inside Aelin because her magic, it had come from Marla Firebringer, yada, yada, yada. Now that they've closed the door to Erelea, she's not got it anymore. She's had to give it all to forge the lock, along with Dorian's dad. The only thing inside her is like a teeny tiny, like a dribble of her water power, because obviously she's connected to Rowan and stuff. At this point, 12 figures appear behind Aelin in this portal space. Diana, Elena, and the other gods in the pantheon. Turns out they want Aelin to send them back to their realm. And Aelin says, okay then, but I want to make a trade. If I help you guys, if I allow you to go back into your realm, then I want to trade Erewhon's soul for Elena's, right? Let Elena go into the afterlife and you can like torture Erewhon forever. And the gods eviscerate Elena. And to be fair, I don't think Elena deserves to go in the afterlife anyway. Okay, she done messed up. She caused all these problems. I'm not the kind of woman to forgive and forget. I'm not as nice as Aelin. Okay, I can admit this about myself. But yeah, they disintegrate her into nothing, so she'll never be able to go into heaven. And they tell Aelin, we're gods. We don't make compromises. We don't make bargains. Back down on Erelea, Rowan can feel the mating bond weakening. He can feel Aelin dying. Now the gods, they leave behind this like archway and seal it. They refuse to take Erewhon with them. Wherever it is they're going, they don't want him. And as a kind of a little bit of a thank you, Marla gives Aelin just a little bit of a power. And she says to Aelin, look, seal the gate behind us. Think of home, and all of the weird marks on your back will help you find your way to Erelea. And you find out, obviously, Aelin had been teaching everyone weird marks as they sailed back from Wendelin. And when Rowan did the tattoo on her back, he tattooed like a path home, like the symbols there were a spell to help Aelin get back to him in case something like this happened or in case she was ever lost. She's got like a spell written on her body to help her get back to him. And Aelin's like, brilliant, Marla, my ancestor, thank you for telling me how I can get home. And then she opens a portal within the gods' world that she can see through this archway, like she can see this lovely, lovely, beautiful place where the gods live. She opens a portal in there to the Hell Realm. So that all of the demons and stuff, you know, the Hell Realm, all the way back in like kind of midnight, where we first saw Aelin and Faye, that specific place. She opens a portal to that and it's like, sight. And she sends all of the gods to hell and then locks all of the gates between worlds. She stops anyone from being able to travel to any other place. She throws the last of her magic into the lock and jumps through the gate back. It's so baller. Now Aelin starts falling through worlds. Like she's hurtling through all these different realms, like super duper fast, and she's getting glimpses of all these different places. She's still going too fast. She knows she needs to start slowing down because she doesn't want to like overshoot Erelea and not make it back into her realm. So she is whizzing through the sky and she's thinking, someone please slow me down. Oh my god, I'm going too fast. And Homegirl flies through what we know because the ACOTAR books had already started being released by this point. She goes through Prithian. And as she's whizzing through the sky, she sees Rhysand from ACOTAR, and he shoots a little bit of magic towards her and helps her slow down. That's true. But there is a Rhys cameo in Kingdom of Ash. So Aelin, like, she's still falling through worlds, but she's just moving a little bit slower now. She gets to see Midgard, where Crescent City, so we've seen Prithian with ACOTAR, and we've seen Lunathian specifically from Crescent City. It's also quite cute because Kingdom of Ash came out before A Court of Silver Flames did. And so you see Feyre stood next to Rhys and she's pregnant. And so if you had read Throne of Glass, you knew that Feyre and Rhys were going to have a baby. And the reveal in Silver Flames was like, oh my goodness, that fall through Kingdom of Ash has to happen during Silver Flames. The timelines, they line up.